If you're a fan of theme parks, there's a good chance that you have a mental list in your head of places that you want to get to before you die. For a lot of people, this is places like Europa Park, Cedar Point, Six Flags Magic Mountain, Fantasialand, Tokyo Disney Sea. And I've had the opportunity of visiting all of these places, but even I too have a list of parks that I want to get to before I die. And I think my list is going to look quite a bit different than a lot of people simply because I have ridden roller coasters on 3 different continents. But that being said, there's still a lot of places out there that I have yet to get to that have some really cool attractions. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing my 10 bucket list parks that I want to get to. Now, I had a tough time deciding what warrants a bucket list park for me. And at the end of the day, I decided that it is a place that I want to get to that I currently have no plans to visit. Now, as you know, if you've been following the channel for a while, I was supposed to visit Europe this summer, and I was going to spend 3 weeks there visiting theme parks, going to places like Energylandia and parks in Germany, Finland, and that trip won't be happening this year. But our plan is to push it back to next year. So for that reason, all of those parks that we are going to visit this summer, I am not including on this list. Something else you will not be seeing on this list are parks in America. Because I am from the United States of America, I personally am not in a huge rush to get to some of these places. Obviously, I want to visit all the Six Flags and the Cedar Fair parks, but the places in other countries around the world just look so much cooler to me that for that reason, I am much more interested in going to those locations than some in the United States. So that's why you won't be seeing any on there. But there is a park in Mexico that I really want to get to, and that will be my number 1 spot that I'll be talking about first. And these are in no particular order, but the first park that I really want to get to at some point is Six Flags Mexico. Now, one of the reasons that I really want to get to here is because it looks like one of the prettiest Six Flags parks. I've also heard it is very well run, and it's a place that I think looks really cool. I mean, you have a Morgan Hypercoaster, you have an RMC with Medusa Steel Coaster. That looks great. I'm trying to knock out all the RMCs. So Six Flags Mexico is definitely a place that I'd like to get to eventually. And I imagine that realistically, I will get here eventually. Moving on from North America, let's talk about the Middle East. In Abu Dhabi, there is a certain location that happens to have the world's fastest roller coaster, and that is Ferrari World with Formula Rossa. And this is an indoor theme park, and they have some wild attractions. Not just the world's fastest coaster, but they also have Flying Aces, an Intamin that just looks absolutely awesome. I mean, I love Sky Rush, and this is like the sister coaster to Sky Rush. So Ferrari World is also at the top of my bucket list. I've been to Ferrari Land in Spain, which is the newer of the 2 Ferrari theme parks, but I gotta get to the original with Ferrari World. And what's so cool is that down the street from it is another big bucket list park for me, and that is Warner Brothers World Abu Dhabi, WB World. And this place looks so cool. It's a newer theme park. They only have 2 roller coasters, I believe, but the reason why I really want to go here is because it is so elaborately themed. I mean, this looks to have some of the coolest attractions, and the fact that they fit everything indoors. I mean, if you've been to, I kind of likened it, at least based off of the pictures I've seen, to if you've been to the interior of like Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, the level of detail that they've put inside it. I mean, it looks absolutely incredible. So this is a location that I really want to get to, not because of the rides. Well, yeah, I mean, they do have a Batman dark ride that looks really cool, but mainly just because of the level of detail that they're going to theme this park looks absolutely outstanding. So that's it for the Emirates. There are some parks in Dubai that look really cool, but they weren't quite enough to crack my top 10 of places that I really want to visit. So let's stick within Asia and pop over to South Korea. Everland is a really cool park that has T-Express, one of the 4 Intamin prefabricated wooden roller coasters. And from what I've heard, it is a combination of Balder and El Toro, and I have some friends that have ridden it, and they had rave things to say about it. So Everland, I think, is one of those parks that I would really enjoy. For our 5th park on my 10 bucket list locations, we're gonna have to go to the land down under. This is Warner Brothers Movie World. Yes, another Warner Brothers park. This one, however, is very different from the one in Abu Dhabi. They are home to DC Rivals Hypercoaster. This crazy creation from Mach Rides looks like nothing else in the world. They're also home to an Intamin launch coaster and Nessa El Loco. So definitely a place that I want to get to at some point. So for the rest of this list, we're going to be talking about places in China. You might notice that none of the parks in Europe made my top 10 bucket list. Again, because I was planning on visiting a lot this past summer that will happen next year. And so that's why I've decided to leave those out. But even some places in like Denmark, I'm not including on here just because they look really cool. But some of these places in China look absolutely crazy. So that's why a lot of them are making this list. So at least with our Chinese parks, let's start things off with an easy one. This is Disneyland Shanghai. And the main reason why I want to visit here is there's two rides that look awesome. First one is Tron. Now we are getting this one in America, but this is the original. It looks so cool. And then the other is Pirates of the Caribbean Battle for Sunken Treasure. Now, this dark ride looks so cool. I have not actually watched a point of view video of it, and I'm trying not to watch one because I want to be surprised for when I actually go and ride it. I did get to see a little bit sneak peek of what to expect when I watched the Imagineering story on Disney+, and it just absolutely blew my mind what they're achieving with this dark ride. So those are the two main reasons why I want to visit Disneyland Shanghai, but I do eventually want to get to all the Disney parks. Moving on from one Chinese theme park to another, this is when you start to get to some of the little strange ones, maybe a little bit more obscure, but Hefei Sonderland is home to Soaring with Dragon. That's the coaster a lot of people are comparing to Pantheon, almost the kind of ride that was modeled off of. It looks so cool and some really neat theming. Then they also have Battle for Jungle King. That is the knockoff tilt coaster. It's a dueling tilt coaster. It looks so weird. I don't know if I'd like it at all, but it looks cool. It's one of those places that I'd like to visit at some point, just because with those two coasters right there, and then they have some other attractions that are not as important in my mind at least, but it just looks like a very interesting theme park that definitely captured my mind, but mainly just because of that intimate launch coaster. So that's Hefei Sonderland. Nancheng Sonderland is home to another intimate, and this one looks so cool. It's Coaster Through the Clouds. I believe it's the largest coaster in China. It looks absolutely ridiculous. And they're also home to a really cool wooden roller coaster called Python and Bamboo Forest. And wow, that looks like a crazy awesome GCI. So yeah, again, this is like Hefei Sonderland. This one has a really cool 1-2 punch that is enough for me to say, man, I gotta get to this park eventually. My ninth big bucket list park that I want to get to is Ocean Park Hong Kong. And this park I mainly want to get to just because of its location. I mean, this looks like one of the most unbelievable parks, at least as far as where it is situated. It's on top of a hill. You take a gondola ride to get to the top, and they have a B&M coaster, a mine train, a corkscrew layout, and it is absolutely insane, the backdrop for this park. It's unbelievable. So if I went to Hong Kong, absolutely, you can expect me to go check this place out. So like Warner Brothers Movie World, this is a park that again, I'm not really going to specifically for the rides, but I really want to get there just because it looks absolutely stunning. Which brings us to our last park that is a huge bucket list item for me, and it is another park in China. This is Chimelong Ocean Kingdom. This place is home to 5 roller coasters. The big one is Parrot Coaster. It's a B&M wing coaster. They'll also have this really cool mock ride Splash where they have these giant walruses on either side that drop plunges between. It looks really cool. And from what I've heard, this is one of the best parks maybe in the world. From some people that have been there that I've read stories about, they had incredible things to say about this place. They even have, I believe it's one of the largest aquariums in the world, maybe the largest at a theme park or something like that. I don't know, but definitely go look up this park if you haven't seen pictures or videos of it. It's definitely one to look into. Absolutely a big bucket list park for me. So that concludes, those are my 10 big bucket list places that I want to visit. Obviously, there's a lot that I didn't mention. One of the big ones is Universal Studios Singapore. Looks really cool, but I'd rather get to some of the others first. And there's a few others that of course look absolutely awesome. There's Gold Reef City in South Africa, and bunch more in China that have, again, some really cool like wooden roller coasters. But at the end of the day, I had to pick 10 of the big bucket list places that I want to visit. So those are the ones that are top places that I want to get to before I die that I currently have no plans to visit. So I want to hear from you guys. What are some places that you really want to get to at some point? And hopefully that places like maybe Cedar Point or Magic Mountain that are a little bit more easily accessible. If you haven't been to already, you can at least knock those out. But I know for me, a lot of the places I mentioned are a little bit more obscure, but I still think they look absolutely awesome and probably don't get talked about enough. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to stay tuned for more here at Coaster Studios, and I'll see you next time.